Welcome to the Options Weekly Forecast Live. We have one hell of a chart to start with on an options trade that we talked about last week that we're going to dive a little bit deeper into because it is absolutely setting up on the chart. The alert's been posted in the Discord. Those of you that have access have it. If you don't have access yet, simply go to the link at the bottom of the screen so you can get it. It is free. So we are going to start the day off with that trade, and then we are going to go through and cover a few things. We're going to always crowd favorite smash or pass. We will play a quick game. We're going to cover the SPY, and we're going to look at a couple other options, opportunities that I see in the market right now. We're a little choppy today, so I'd say be a little bit hesitant, but there are a few opportunities that are absolutely glaring and look unbelievable. So let's get into it. While we look at this, let's get this a little bigger so you guys can see. We've got the AFRM chart up here. We love this chart right now. So for those of you in the Discord that have been following this trade, you know, let me double check real quick. Everybody can hear me all right, correct? And the last time I went for about 20 minutes. I went for a few minutes, covered a lot, and you guys weren't able to hear me. So can everybody hear me? Yes? Somebody give me a yes in the chat and hit me with a comment. Help me out. Okay, beautiful. So that being said, let's start diving into the trades. Let's get an idea of what to look for this week up and coming, especially for those of you that trade options. But for those of you that don't, we're going to cover a few little known option secrets that are going to help you in your trading. And we are going to have another small cap stock pick of the week that we're going to discuss. We are so far 10 for 10 on the small cap stock picks. Every single one of those has hit for at least 15% since we talked about it on this stream. The most recent, really quick, just to give myself a little bit of a bump here, was Fubo. We were talking about it at about $2 right about here around the beginning of July, 7.7. As you can see, this thing boomed to about $3.30, almost 100% gainer, at the very least 75%. Congratulations if you took that one. The play is over, so let's move on to options. So we talked last week about this AFRM chart and how glorious it looked. These contracts we alerted first, right? Was it right about here? I want to say we were trading at about 16 and change, ran to 1866. Those contracts ran up 40% plus. I know a lot of you took profit and then re-entered. Those are my children. I love y'all. I'm so proud when I saw that. That means you guys are really, really getting the hang of this. I love seeing that confidence to take a trade, be willing to take that profit off the table, and then move on back into the trade because the setup is still there. Take advantage of everything you can in the market because at the end of the day, it's your money and you need to multiply it. And this is what we're going to do by following the stream, following these trades, and then putting it all together. This is going to be your golden ticket. This is going to be your bread and butter to really getting going in the options trading and just making sure that you're profitable in general in your trading. So back to the AFRM chart here, we saw this 200-day EMA just floating ever so gently here. If we roll back just a little bit, we were riding above this 200-day EMA. It's pretty critical support that has to hold for this play to remain viable for upside movement. One of the things we identified, if you zoom out a little bit, was that this chart in particular had a very, 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 very predictable move that it seems to do over and over again. So we mapped it out, 42-day increments, okay? So that means that on the weekly chart here, so the W, that means we're looking at the weekly chart. Each of these bars represents a week. We're looking at roughly 6 weeks of data, a little more, 7 weeks. So we've seen a 145% move. We've seen a 288% move. We've seen a 117% move. Now, what we're going to see, in my opinion, very likely, not guaranteed, but very likely, is 116% to the upside. That means that our options play that we're currently in for AFRM, the calls that we have alerted and that you guys are trading and following, and some of you may be in, have a statistically significant probability of hitting for a massive profit. Now, here are some of the other indicators we're looking at that make us even more confident, okay? We're going to stay on the weekly chart, excuse me. On the weekly chart, right, we are trading above all moving averages except for the 200-day, which means that's our biggest long-term resistance. But there is over 300 to 400% upside until we even confront that resistance. We have 300 to 400% upside. So that's why this trade makes sense. Now let's talk about how to trade it. Looking at the daily chart here, we see this 200-day EMA floating above price, right? So that means that that is our current resistance we need to break over. We saw this move here, pumped, broke above that resistance, came back down. We bought here, pushed up again. It's starting to make cracks on that resistance. That's a good sign. It is holding support on the other shorter term EMAs. RSI is steady above 50. Volume is starting to flow in. We want to see a little bit stronger volume. We realistically, we'd like to see about 40 million shares per day. Right now, we're only seeing about 20 million in some of the bigger days, and today was a low volume day at about 6 million. But we're very optimistic because of the setup. So this is the daily. We're pushing up against that resistance here. We need to see a move up. If we go back to the hourly, this is what gives us the confidence to hold this trade. So we've been oscillating on this 200-day EMA. We're holding up here. Very good sign. So see these bounces off that line right here, 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 here. That means it's bouncing off that support and popping right back up, which means buyers are saying, no, 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 no. You can't push it too low. We like this price. We feel that it's fair. We're sticking with it. We're seeing some consolidation in price as well. Here's the sign that makes me most optimistic. If we go back to the 21st, we saw a hard push down at open. Remember, the whole market went red. Everything across the board is a macro event. The whole market took a dump. What happened on this particular ticker? Well, buyers said no thanks and immediately gobbled up all of that sell side pressure and pushed price right back up. And then if we go to today, we see a little bit of bearish engulfing, but then the bulls pick back up and push price a little bit higher again. So now what we need to see for continuation to the upside is we need to look at the high of day right here, okay? 1759. Then let's go back to the 20th. High of day is about 1763. Go back another day. High of day is 1866. So these highs of day are descending, meaning we're not reaching a higher high. However, today we did reach a higher low, which can be confirmation of a continued uptrend. So what we need to see tomorrow or the next day, we have about a 2-day window. We want to see price push up to about 1750, 1760. I would feel very, very, very confident should we do that. And like I said, I love this consolidation. I like that we're getting the consolidation we've needed because we've seen a lot of volatility. We need this to stabilize a little bit across the middle. And when we get that, it allows for demand to build up. Okay, so right now it's even exchange liquidity, meaning it's just trading up and down in this very small fixed range. As long as this 200-day exponential moving average, this yellow line here, 200-day EMA. If you need to set that up, you can go to indicators on your Webull chart or other brokerages aside from Robinhood. Select EMA and then put your settings in. So you want to be able to see the 200-day EMA on the 1-hour chart. Okay. We need to see continued support here off of this 200-day EMA. Oh, hey there. You're damn right you're looking in the mirror, and I'm the mirror. God bless you. We need this 200 EMA to hold steady. As long as this holds, this chart is setting up for prime time to the upside. So dialing this back a little bit, let's look at what we can expect for price targets moving forward. We're going to switch to the 4-hour because we want a little bit of a bigger scope, bigger view, right? We saw that on this past run back in early June, this thing pushed to almost $20. I will be starting to scale out of some of the position if we can push up in the high 18s and 19s, which means our options contract should be up no less than 50%. So again, this is an expected trade this is an expected roughly 30-day trade. We want to take 30 days as we take this trade for maximum profit. Remember we talked about an options function on the bell curve, right? You know what a bell curve is? I'll draw one for you just in case you don't. So this is a bell curve, right? Oh, sorry. Let me draw again. Excuse me. So we want to be buying down here, and we want to be selling here, here, with our last sale occurring right at the top of the bell curve. So to look at this a little further, because this is something that's, I think, instrumental for you to learn if you're trying to trade options. Let me find so as we get closer to expiration, right, there's a tipping point. So if we bought here and this is our expiration date, price goes up on the stock, right? So let's assume the chart is going up. As it's going up, if our options are not in the money, regardless of whether or not the stock went up from when we bought the options, there's a certain point in which the theta decay, which decreases the value of the option, right, starts to eat away at the price as you near the expiration, unless those options are in the money. Frank, that's my boy at the gym pretending to exercise, but really, I'm just trying to get rich. I love that, baby. Take care of that body, because you don't just want to be a rich guy. You want to be a rich, handsome, fit guy. You already got the handsome. You're already getting the rich. Just make sure you get the fit too. Come on, baby. You know the deal. So what we want to be doing is selling on the upward trajectory of this bell curve, meaning price is going up until we hit that tipping point when the theta decay starts to eat the option. Here is how we deployed this exact thinking into this AFRM strategy, okay? So as we mapped out each of these incremental moves, right, we looked at how long did it take for the stock to move this much? Well, 40 days, 42 days, 42 days, 42 days. We've identified a pattern that between roughly 40 and 45 days, this stock has nice upward expression of volatility. So when we made our trade projections, we looked at 116% potential upside on the stock. Then we looked at what expiration would we need to buy to ensure that we are able to maximally capitalize profits. Because remember, we need this move to happen within the expiration of the option. So the option has a lifespan. And in our case, we picked November, which gives us pretty much 100 and something days, right? So at least 4 months, almost exactly 4 months, which means that we have about 120 days until expiration. So that means we have up until about day 60, 70 for this to run, which means we'd be well within the parameters of a 42-day move, right? Because again, we talked about each of these moves took about 42 days to come to fruition. So what we're estimating is that it's going to mimic what it's done before. We're playing the odds that we're going to see a 42-day move to potentially 116% upside or more. Might be less, but also could be more. And so we made sure that when we bought the contracts we did, that they fit within the scope of those parameters, right? So looking at this bell curve again, on the on the x-axis, we have our time. And our time equals about 120 days. Going left and right is our time, and it equals about 120 days. So we start here up the bell curve. This is when we hit the midpoint at about 60, 70 days till expiration. That's when our theta decay will kick in if these options aren't in the money. So now here's why we chose the price target we did. So zooming out, going to the daily chart, we could see that a pretty noticeable first resistance, right? Anytime you map out these charts, I just kind of throw some lines on there to see what sticks. I want to find those points of confluence, right? Which means the price touches this line as many times as possible in a meaningful way. So when I look at volume, I want to see strong volume moves that interact with this line. Here we have them, right? Strong move up on decent volume, stronger than average volume, rejected at about 31. Strong move up, better than average volume, rejected at 31. Now here's the interesting part. Above that price, decent volume until sellers took it down from 30 to about 23 bucks. But again, an intersection with a very, very valuable price point. We see it again here, support touch, resistance, and then support again. So I would say that this about $30, $31 range is very important. So we chose the strike just below that. And because we chose that strike just below that, it means we have a higher likelihood of actually hitting in the money on those options, which means once they're in the money, the value of those contracts will move exponentially more quickly. NVIDIA trade, case in point, that trade is up like 1,500% at this point, right? That was for me almost $100,000 trade. It was a phenomenal trade. Once it was in the money, now it's like hundreds of dollars outside the money because $100 in the money because it just continued running. But those contracts move way more if they're in the money because that delta goes up, which is how much the price moves of the option, how much the options contract price moves relative to the movement in the stock price. You want that delta to be as high as possible. When you buy options, you want to look at a specific delta range of like 0.4 to 0.6. That typically means it's weighted towards the upside and you're not too far away on the strike. So that's enough about why we did it. Now let's look at how it's going to pan out. So once again, just to recap, we're holding above this 200-day exponential moving average. We need to see that for continuation. If we can hold above it, then we're in a very good spot to make another 40, 50, 60, 70+% on this trade that we're currently in. I think it's a high probability trade that makes a lot of sense, and I really like the setup here. I think we're going to be very happy with this at the end of the day. So I wanted to start with that for all of you that were looking for updates on that particular play. Now you've got them, and now we're going to dive into the general market stuff because we had a very weird trading day, an even weirder week. As you can see, the SPY here, we're still on the hourly chart, pushed up above our expected resistance at about 451.77. Here we can see that that was the right price point. We nailed it on that analysis because we saw resistance here, resistance here. Now it's confirmed as support, right? So we can look at this as potentially bullish above 451.77. So because we have that line mapped out, we can now plan out our trades more efficiently. You have to have this stuff. If you want to trade full time, if you really want to do this, you need to have this stuff mapped out. You can't just haphazardly jump into trades. It's just not going to work. So we've got the hourly chart here. We're going to zoom back a little bit to look at the daily. Again, we have huge volatility expression here all along the bottom of what could be cup and handle. I mean, it's too volatile, in my opinion, to follow that pattern, but we can expect something similar, I think. Looking at the daily, though, we actually had a strong finish, but on low volume. So what we need to determine here is it worth trusting this because it happened on low volume? And the answer is maybe. Looking at RSI, though, we start to get a bigger picture on how this may continue to be bought up a little bit, but it's also kind of pushing into overbought territory. So in our past run-up, we had RSI to about 77 and change, and it looks like it hit there, right there, and it hit just below there, right here. So when we look at the RSI, we look at it the same way we look at price on a stock chart. A higher high and then a lower high usually means that we're going to see some downside coming. Now, until we price in a lower low, lower than RSI of 60, I'm not too concerned. However, I don't see too much meat on the bone to really eat here unless we see a move to 466, which could happen. So looking back at, what was that? December of 21, we had a strong 3-day move up to about 466. That's a move I think we could see duplicated here. With a pretty heavy resistance at about 458. So, for example, when the market opens tomorrow, if it looks strong and green, I would target 455, 456 on the call side, trade some upside, make some money. I think you could really trade that well because we are still catered to the upside, even though I'm not too sold on continued upside from here. The chart is telling us otherwise, and you don't want to bet against the trend. So, looking at the SPY here, I would say that if we open up above 454, I think that you could take a nice $2 move on this, trading to 456 and seeing if we test that resistance right there. Because if we don't, I think we're coming back down to 451 and then inevitably to about 450 until we intersect with this 200-day EMA on the hourly. And that will give us a better picture of where we're going to go. Because as you can see here, it's used this 200 EMA as a pretty trustworthy support up until this point. So you want to be trading these moves up, and then you want to be trading the downside to the 200-day support, and then up, down to 200-day support. You can wash, rinse, repeat these trades, guys, and make thousands of dollars a week just doing the same thing over and over if you do it right. So we saw price expansion quite a bit above this 200-day EMA, which is our support. So what we're actually looking for here is for a support touch to show us confirmation that the trend will continue. If we don't get that and it breaks through, then we're probably going to head back down into the 430s, and we'll take a nice 700-800% put position when we do break that support. We will be prepared for that trade when it happens. So because you're here, you'll be prepared too. It's a quick note. If you guys are in the Discord, something I really appreciate is if you just drop your Discord username so I know who's who. If you are not trading with us in the Discord, just type new in the chat so that we know you're new, and we'll be sending you some free information so that you can get some free alerts, some free watch lists, and some free trading education materials, just so that you're in a good spot with your trading and you're not losing money getting beat to death by the market. Nobody wants that. So feel free to drop that in the comments. Matter of fact, I encourage you and I would appreciate it. So I want to take a second, hit some of these comments here. Let's see what Danny said. My PACW options killed to 11 of my 30 calls. Nice, beautiful, beautiful. Should I have taken profit and fully closed out? Now that, if that isn't a question of the century. So let's look at the chart here. So you've crushed it. You made bank on this PacWest Bancorp stuff. Holding through earnings is always a tricky proposition, and it's something that I personally don't like to do under any circumstance, unless I have absolutely crushed it on whatever trade I'm in, and I am basically sitting on all profit. So say, for example, like in your case, you had 30 different calls, right? I would have sold 25 of them, guaranteed myself profit, and held 5 for the what if maybe this thing booms and I make a killing. Because this is a bottom feeder chart. So there's definitely upside, but I personally, congratulations, my friend. Welcome to the Lifers Club. You get access to all the master classes. You get access to the weekly 3-hour options trading session with Bull. Congratulations. You deserve it. I love it. I love seeing people on that jump in on the stream and then they get in there and get her done. I love you guys. I appreciate you being here. So back to your question, Danny. Personally, in the future, that's something I would consider. That's the way I like to trade them. It's like I said, if I have 30 of those options contracts, I want to sell at least 25, 26 of them, hold on to a very small position, all profit. So if earnings booms, I make a killing. If it doesn't, those are going to be worthless. So it's a big risk. There's always another trade. Anybody that ever says I missed the one shouldn't be doing this, because the reality is here, guys, that there is no one trade. There are hundreds of different trade opportunities every single day. We've been doing this for years now, showing you that up, down, earnings, none of that matters. We find the best opportunities we can. We put them out there. Everybody makes money. Everybody's happy. Holding on to any one trade in particular is not going to get it for you. So, for instance, in this case, holding that much of your position into earnings, it could absolutely kill you and take those profits right out of your hand. I hope it doesn't. Because this thing came down to 250. I'm hoping you bought those calls like $3. You're making money either way. Nevertheless, I would not be holding those through earnings, because managing your risk is your only real responsibility as a trader. It's the only thing you have to do every day. If you don't do it, you get destroyed. If you get destroyed, you don't have capital. If you don't have capital, you can't continue to trade. So the whole name of the game of being a trader is keeping yourself in the game. And you do that by protecting your capital. So whether that's taking smart trades, whether that's setting stops on every trade, whether that's managing your risk using options, right? For instance, if you have a long call that's up and then you add a short to hedge, but you don't want to miss out on the upside, create a butterfly. Again, all things we teach in the lifetime course. It's 3 hours, like every week. Bull's in there just grinding it, teaching you unbelievable passive income option stuff. The guy basically has created a way to do real estate digitally without owning a building, by just selling options. You get paid to sit and do nothing. It's wonderful. But in this case, my friend, if you're not in the Discord, definitely join. I didn't see if you dropped a username or not, because you definitely won't be in this position again. We'll take care of you. But either way, I think you'll be okay, because you better just hope their earnings are great. And you at least sold 11 of them and took some profit. But in the future, I would keep maybe 5% of the position open for the what if, and the rest I would close out at profit and walk away with a grin on my face and money in my pocket. So definitely keep that in mind. So beautiful. That was a great question, though. I'm really glad you brought it up. So to continue looking at these, another update on a play that we're currently in, Robinhood, our options. Let's take a quick look. So I have 2 different calls open right now. take a look. So right now we have the $20 calls for 2025. We have tons of time in expiration here. We are up 95% on these boys. It is great stuff. They're down a little bit today. Looking at the 3-month view, these have been on the up and up. We alerted these right around $1.10. So right around here, I think it was June 14, 15 or so. We've been holding on to these a month, and it's a 95% return, which is absolutely phenomenal. We've absolutely crushed these. I think this is a really smart trade. Let's look at the other. Let's look at the other option. Is that the $20 call? Is that the one we're just looking at? Sorry. We need to look at the so all in on the two strategies we have deployed, we're up 90% total. I have the $15 calls as well. So these are up 86%. This was also a phenomenal ad. These are all the way on the up and up. 1 year high was at about 390. We're at 323 now. I think these are going to reach a new high given the Robinhood chart. So to go back to the chart, let me get you back to the chart ski-poo here. But either way, minimum, you're up 86%. Depending on which one you took, it's been a phenomenal trade, guys. I'm very, very, very satisfied with the results of this trade so far, and I'm glad that it was pushed on the Discord for you to see. So going back to the chart here for Robinhood on the weekly, we do see that it is compressed, and then we saw the springboard move up, pushing as high as about 1328. Volume is picking up. RSI pushing into overbought. We did have a pretty significant resistance. Let's make this a little bigger. Pretty significant resistance right here that we pushed through. That was at about 1232. It looks like that's turning over to support given the candle yesterday. Now what we need to see tomorrow is another move up or a consolidated move sideways. We don't want to see too much downside, but I think we have upside to about 20, 25 bucks here over the next 6 months, which means we bought those contracts over a year in advance. So those, in my opinion, could be another NVIDIA for us. Because remember, when this IPO'd, this went to 85 bucks. It absolutely exploded. If we get even close to that, these contracts are up thousands of %. So keep that in mind, that this was another play, in my opinion, that was just absolutely. I think it was just a brilliant play that just completely makes sense. I do think that there's a lot of continuation here. However, I just want to mention there's nothing wrong with taking profit on an 80, 90% trade. So if scaling out of 1, 2, 3 of those contracts, if you're able to buy a few, is smart. Alternatively, you can find the current resistance we're trading against, call it 13, 14 bucks, and sell weekly calls to slowly get your money back. That does carry a little bit of risk. So if you're willing to hold, go for it. Our next resistance we're looking at was this candle right here, which puts us at about 16. Let's see what price that's at, about 1650. So that's going to be the next target here for this one. And I did buy, I'm also in this on equities at about, I was buying at the bottom of this range. So I was buying at about 850, 860, 875. No, 750 with Lee back there, long-term growth. And then again over here, but the majority of the position was added about 850. So I'm up almost, I think 60% on this for the equity side, which is a phenomenal trade. So I'm very, very, very happy with this. Welcome to the team, my friend. I'm glad you remember it. I'm glad you're part of the team, baby. Let's get you making that money. Doing it. So that's that one. Now, next up on updates, because I do want you guys to be in the loop and understand what we're doing here. And as I told you when we started this a year ago, we're going to follow these trades together so that you guys understand exactly what the thinking and insight is going into the trades, but also how to trade them in the moment, because I know it's very difficult for some people to manage and watch every day. The goal is that you can take an hour of your day, watch this video, have a full understanding of these trades you're in, and never look back. So remember, we talked about this consolidation channel here between 56 and 98 bucks. We've bounced on the bottom. Now we want to see the top. Roku pushed up, but has come down a little bit. We want to see this push up to about 98 bucks. That's what I expect over the next couple months. We have confirmation of this trend right here and here. So we can expect a move similar to what we saw in the past, in my opinion, on this chart, and we'll see it over the next couple weeks. So I expect those to be very green as we go along. I know they went deeply red. That was a whole kerfuffle. My stop didn't hit, which sometimes happens on options. So I was forced to hold on to them. I just wanted to update you guys for those of you that are still holding. RSI's tuned up. We're at about 57. Look, we're starting to see buyers come back in, step up to the plate, which is a very good sign. Now, what we want to see is price expansion to upside, and we want to see 98 bucks. We want to see this thing boom. Next update, United Airlines. We have some 2025 calls here as well. This play is setting up beautifully. We are trading well above our moving averages on the weekly chart, which is a great sign, absolutely great sign. In my opinion, our next focal point in terms of price will be right about here at about 71 bucks. I'm going to flip back and take a quick look to see what strike we had, because honestly, I haven't looked at this in quite a while. So far, we've been up almost 100%, but I'm currently up to about 65% on this. We're trading the $50 calls for 2024. So we're in the money, which means as the price moves up, these things are going to absolutely boom. Our next resistance really is here at about 60. I would suggest if you took this one, this is definitely one to scale out of as we move to upside of 60 plus, because again, it's 60, 70%. You can't sniff at that, can you? Took a little bit of a haircut today, down 11%. I'm a little disappointed in that. These are up to 1160 high. So these are up about 85%. Great trade overall, great long-term slow playing trade for those of you that work and you don't have time to be trading every day. I just went through 3 or 4 trades that have yielded over 50% ROI, and they should have taken only 3-4 hours a month of your time to execute. That's my goal here. That's my trading strategy right now, is to find low cost, low maintenance trades that will just sit and appreciate. I do want to ask, what in the hell happened with AMC today? Huge volume. This thing pushed, closed below the 200 EMA, but it did. Look at our price levels and how well adjusted they were. It hit 624 on the dot. Next level above there, 728. I'm by no means saying bullish on AMC, but I am saying this chart is interesting, and this volume does tell you something you need to know, which if you go back in time, look at this. This is the best volume we've had since June of 2021, similar to what we saw before that run. I'm not saying it's going to run, but I am saying it might YOLO some lottos. That's all I'm going to tell you. Oh, that was from the Barbie movie? Are you kidding me? That's nonsense then. Never mind. That's really stupid. That's a really stupid reason. One movie is not going to save a company. But hey, if it gives us opportunity to trade some lottos and we can make a killing, let's do it. Let's do it. So another one a lot of you have asked about, NVIDIA. This is what I'm looking at here. So we do have trending resistance right here. We don't want to see this inflection point become reality where this turns over to this. We want this first option, which I'll make a little thicker so you can see it. We want option number 1 to hold up as support before we see some upside. Now, granted, remember we talked about a blue sky breakout. We have no idea how far it can go, but 480 might be the farthest it's going to go for right now because volume's picking up on the sell side. We're really cratering off here. And again, it's trying to hold up momentum from an unfathomable run. That is just crazy to me. So I'm going to hold as long as we maintain this support. When we don't, I'm going to be closing those leaps once and for all. And we'll be making that money. I'm actually trying to work out a situation where I can exercise one of those calls and take those shares and start selling premium against them. So let us now move into something a bit more fun. Let's play a little bit of Smash or Pass. So here's the name of the game. You put the ticker in the chat. We look at the chart and we determine in a quick look whether or not we see upside. We're only trading one way. This is a biased view. We're looking at the bull case only. Can we go long and strong on the stock that you are interested in right here, right now? That is the question. You have to drop the ticker in the chat and we will go through them. I want to make sure I'm covering the charts of the stocks that you guys are interested in so that if you have open positions or you're looking at one, you can get a second opinion to make sure it's the right trade for you. So go ahead and drop those in the chat right now. All right, let's get into it. So first up, Carvana, I must say, for those of you that have been following this stream for months now, we absolutely nailed it. Remember, we were talking about this back in the middle end of May, that if we saw that break over 1150, this thing would go. Since then, it's run 400%. Another reason to follow this stream. If you've been following this stream, then you knew about this move before it even happened. And instead of chasing it, you're hopefully capitalizing on it. I think that was an unbelievable move up. We predicted it at about 1150, break of 1150. We expected upside. And to be honest, I was aiming for about 25, 30 bucks, but it went well beyond that and then some. So congratulations to you that took some options there, made some money. You deserve it for following this stream. So right now, I'm going to say that this actually still gets a smash as long as it holds that EMA support right there. I think as long as it stays above 43 bucks, there's definitely opportunity here. This one's been so volatile and has moved so strongly to the upside that I don't see a world in which we don't get a little handle here for this cup and handle to finally form, and then this thing could continue to rip, only because it moved so quickly through this space. Remember, it was trading in over 100 bucks, came down and lost $100 a share in value in 4 months. So that means that it has that same capacity to make that run up to 97 bucks in less than 4 months. So I'm going to have to give this one, Smashtastic over 43, because I think that it has more upside on the table should it continue here. So that's Carvana. It's getting a smash. It's beautiful. I love it. Let's get into the next one. TMC. Never even heard of it, but let's look at it from Mr. Richmond. TMC. And again, if you're new, make sure you drop new in the chat so we know. We want to get you hooked up with our free watch list. Goes out every Sunday, gives you a broad market analysis, so you know exactly what's happening, along with access to our free alerts. So if you are, we'll drop a link in the chat so you can get in there, put your email in, and sign up so that you don't miss out on a thing. Looking at this chart here, I'm just going to tell you right now, this is TMC. TMC is getting a hard pass. I don't like this chart at all. Even though you see a lot of buying here, it's a bottom feeder setup with a lot of resistance, headwinds. I don't know enough about the metals industry to say it's a good deal. It just looks like it's really going to have to bash its head through a wall to get anywhere. So I'm going to give this one the old pass. Kevin, are you talking about Florida, or is this a real company? Foot Locker. Oh, I didn't know they even traded. Oh, I can tell you right now, this is going to be pass. Look at that. Trading to downside, looking at the weekly, same thing, downside, nothing but headwinds against it. Barely holding support here, 24 bucks. Not worth the risk. Upside, but not worth the risk. Too much downside. Pass. Let's go get Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. Let's see what Warren Buffett's up to. Wow, what a chart. Just growth for days. My Lord. Unbelievable. It's an unbelievable chart. God bless them. Nothing but growth. If that isn't an investment that paid off, I don't know what is. So I'm going to have to go ahead, even though I do think there's downside coming. You can't not give it a smash. It's trading above all moving averages, trading in trend. I do think that it does have some potential downside here, but I also think that this company has grown nonstop. So from a long perspective, how can you knock it? I'm going to have to go ahead and give her a smash because I really don't know what else to say. Warren Buffett's just so beautiful, and I could kiss him looking at this chart. I wish I had more money in Coca-Cola, but I don't. So to keep it moving, IBM, interesting one. We've talked about this one a few times. Remember, we were talking about this down at about 120, that it was a good buy. And I think we also included this in Rest and Retire, if I'm not mistaken. 3 growth stock picks a month sent right to your email with a full readout on why it makes sense. So far, that portfolio is up 83% year to date. Check it out. You can go to pbalerts.com and look up Rest and Retire. It's been an absolute banger. So I'm going to also have to give this one a smash because it just looks so good. I don't know how far they're venturing into artificial intelligence, but I would say that, you know, given for what I thought would be soon to be dead tech company, they have held up substantially. So we talked about over 126.86. That was the opportunity zone right there to buy. We discussed it on this stream, so you had a chance if you follow it. With upside to 150, I think that right now this chart is consolidating and setting up. This RSI looks pretty healthy. We do have some buyers coming in, but not enough. Pretty significant selling on back in, what is that, July of last year, and then a little bit here in March of this year. So you do need buyers to come in, but I do think stable company. I believe they also pay a dividend, and the chart actually looks decent. Looks like it's setting up pretty decently. Let's look at the monthly. It looks even healthier, to be honest. The monthly chart gives me a hard smash vibe. So as long as this stays over 137 or so, I think this thing's golden to find a new high. Personally, I think that this thing could see more upside. Unbelievable chart. Good pick. Let me look at what else. SAVA 21 call. You know how I feel about SAVA. Oh no, that monthly chart looks abysmal. Oh no, weekly chart looks abysmal. Oh, daily chart looks even worse. Oh, disappointing. I don't even know why it's selling off, to be honest. I haven't stayed up to date on the news here. Huge opportunity for Alzheimer's drug, but unfortunately, it looks like they're just shitting the bed here. Downside, I'm going to have to, wow, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm going to have to reconsider some of my long-term positions because this one just made me sad. SAVA got a pass. Oh, that's so sad. That hurts me. Let's hope that this is bottom and it pops back up, because if it doesn't, oh, this is a fun one. Nanigans, PDD absolutely nailed it. Hope you took some profit today, because it was a take profit kind of day. Did we nail this move or what? Our options are up substantially here. We predicted this move when it was traded at about $70. We took our calls to the upside. This thing is absolutely curling deliciously, delightfully, and moving wonderfully, exactly as anticipated. The hourly looks even better. We're flagging here, looking for more upside. Looks like we drew it out on the chart already that we expected that move to occur. Oh my God, look at that. So we drew this move back when we were trading it on the 7th. Look at how closely it's followed that move. I didn't even intend to do that. Beautiful. So PDD, nothing but upside. It's always getting a smash because we're already in it. Smash. I'm giving it smash. So this trade is already very, very green. Let me take a look at how green. Give me just 1 second. We've got this in our portfolio. We're trading options here. For those of you in the Discord, if you're not in, you're missing out. This thing's already up 62%, and it has the opportunity to go even further. Looking at the options chain here, 3-month view, this thing could go to 750 plus. We bought it at around $3. It's trading at 570, so it is up 60% plus. This was a phenomenal trade. Congratulations to those of you that took it. Salute. Let's make some money, baby. So let's keep going. VSAT, never, don't even know what that is, but let's take a look. VSAT. Oh, I can tell you right now, not even going to look any further. Pass. No, thank you. Don't want a taste of that. It probably smells. No interest. Look at that. Bad chart. Bad chart. Bad. It could hold above 29, but I don't think it will. And it's just absolutely cratering. Now, there was a huge buyer, but I just don't trust it. Chart doesn't look good. No thanks. I'm not interested. I'm not hungry. It's not going to be delicious. So moving on, let's take a look here. Breakout, ENPH, Enphase Energy, one I've been very interested in. Weekly. So it looks like it's holding up here. Again, we talked about, remember, this one is a buy off the 200-day moving average. We really, really, really need to be watching this chart. I do think energy is going to see a run here. I am seeing some rotation into the energy sector. So this might be the opportunity to pick up a few good names at a pretty good discount, this being one of them. We did fail our support test right here. This thing broke down and then found support at the 200-day EMA. It is currently below 50 on the RSI. Not a great sign. Sell side volumes picking up here. Not a great sign. But as long as it continues trading at above about 160, I do think this one's going to be a smash. I'm actually going to look up. I'm actually going to look up some options opportunities here. I gave it a smash with a dollar sign and phase energy. I do think this one has some upside, and we're going to have to take a deeper look in the Discord. Again, if you're not in it, you need to. Pookie or Duck, can you drop the email sign up link so they can get access to create their free account and the watch list and such? For those of you that aren't in already, that way you can see these alerts when they come out. But yeah, I think this one's definitely a smash. I'm gonna have to look at this one for some long-term options play because I do like that 200-day moving average bounce. Oh, Snap earnings tomorrow. That would have been a fun one to lotto. When? What is this one? Wendy's. Oh, is this this is much like the Coke. Oh, not like the Coca-Cola chart. Cup and handle for days, man. There's the handle. Oh, man, I'm torn on this because look at all those wicks. So they're not able to sustain upside price strength, but they are picking up the slack like champions. Look at those. Every time it sells off, you get those firm, full body boys coming through, which is a pretty good sign. I would be pretty optimistic. I will say I'll give this a moderate smash. No, because it can't be conditional. So I have to pass. There's just too much there's too much risk here, and there's better opportunities in the market. So I'm gonna give this one a Passsssse. Still interested in watching, but look at all these wicks, which means buyers pushed up, but then sellers knocked them right back down, and then they never did anything about it. It's kind of like getting kicked in the nuts and going home and saying, well, whatever, I'm not going to stop this bully from kicking me in the nuts. I'm just going to let him keep doing it. And that's what's happening here. So I'm not that interested. Sorry. Kevin Jackson, I'm sorry, my friend. I just don't like it all that much. Let's take a quick look at Snap, even though that wasn't discussed as a smash or pass option. We nailed this. I mean, this chart, we played this one perfectly. Remember, we were talking about, let's go to the daily. We were talking about this move up, and we were trading at about 771. That was our support touch. That was the buy signal, and it's basically doubled in price. Now trading above that 200-day EMA. Phenomenal trade here. I really think that we nailed this on the equity side, and we didn't do options, which I would regret, but we nailed the equity side. So as long as we stay above 1240, I really do like Snapchat. Earnings is going to be really interesting. So there's a ton of buying after the last earnings, but then price still came down. Tons of buying after this earnings, selling, then buying after this earnings. So we're starting to notice a pattern here, are we not? Earnings comes, liquidity comes, and usually some upside follows. So given the nature of this chart right now, I would say that it is poised to upside, aiming for, we've already mapped it out, 1637, but needs to hold above 1238. That is a critical component to this. I would not hold options through earnings, as I've said before many a times, because it's just dangerous and it doesn't suit you. You can get destroyed on implied volatility, just wiping out the value of your contract. You can have good earnings, bad price action, kills your option, or you can have an unbelievable boom like we did with NVIDIA. But again, we're up hundreds of percent at that point, so it didn't matter. This one, do not take a new position. Wait and watch. The best opportunities come after earnings when you get to see how it plays out and start to predict the future a little more aptly. So Snapchat's going to be on the watch list. Somebody make a note to ping me about this tomorrow so that we can look at it. Very interested. Matster, UBS. UBS Group. Interesting. I don't even see how this is possible. This wick down to 91 cents. It must have been warrants or something. Sounds like something mischievous. I want to give it a smash, but there's just too much. I don't like waiting for a breakout. I like trading the long move that happens after when we break through momentum and we get to sustained price action. Like here's the one I would have liked to have traded. Break up over 200-day EMA. That way I have a cut point that makes sense. My risk is very limited and I have tons of upside on the horizon. With this one, you're trading this breakout for new high, but I think you're going to get knocked back down. What is that? 2161. I think there's too much resistance there. And then going back even further, you can see that this stock has pushed to like 112 and then gotten destroyed. So I think realistically, there's just too much risk here. What the hell? U.S. Bancorp? Well, thanks for wasting my time. This guy. Let me do all that for nothing. This chart is, what is this? What a whack chart. Look at this. Boom, done. Boom, done. Boom, done. Boom, done. But it looks like it does pick up out of those cavernous gaps. But sell side volume's coming in. Volume is picking up. This has got a lot of headwinds. I'm going to say no thanks. Pass. No thanks. Even though you gave me the wrong one. That's why I'm passing no matter what. No thanks. 3M. Let's take a look at this. Oh, wow. This chart's a little brutal too. Why is this happening? This is a steady dividend payer. This is a good long-term holding in industrials, but well, I guess consumer goods, industrials, a lot of places. Interesting. There might be some opportunity afoot here. So what I don't like is this little kind of double top situation where it just got slayed. We're on the monthly chart here, so let's create a sensible range. Oh, I do kind of like this now. Oh, you might have found one. The doctor might have come in clutch for some long-term viability. Now, sellers have come in force. They're forced to be reckoned with, but I really do like this for potential reversal. Reversal into earnings, though. We're going to have to wait until earnings is done. Welcome, Diane. Nice to meet you, my friend. I'm going to send 2 links here in the chat. I want to make sure you get in there. First, download Discord. Enter the Discord community. This is your best bet to learn trading education, and now you have a community of traders that care about you and want to see you succeed. Secondly, go to this website and create your free account, and now you get access to all the watch lists and everything else. No payment info needed. If you want to jump in, get that premium life. You can get that 90-day trading education. Don't suggest it. I would wait, make some money for free, and then decide if it's right for you. But join the Discord, get the free alerts, create your free account on the website, get your free watch list and your free classes. Welcome. I'm glad you're here, and I hope you show up every Monday, 4 o'clock. We're here. Get with it. What's up, baby? How you leaving? How you living? So, Tammy, I don't know what you're trying to say here, but I like it. Whoa, Build-A-Bear on a run. Are you kidding me? How on earth are they booming and making? How are they making any money? Do people still go to Build-A-Bear? Is that serious? There's no way. Those are such a ripoff. And I thought they were kind of dependent upon malls to make any money. So they're standalone Build-A-Bear. Do they expand their scope of business at all? That's interesting. I don't like this one, Tammy, all too much. There is upside here, but again, limited. And I see this head and shoulders playing out here with some downside available down to $18. This would be a good short candidate once it hits 23, or trade some puts. And I think the neckline is below 20. I would trust this more so. So unfortunately, I'm going to pass on that BBW. Wink, wink. But I don't know, man. I don't know enough about this business. I just looking at this chart, I just don't see tons of upside here to trade it. I mean, if you're already holding it, I would just watch at 23 and change. If it hits and comes back down, then you're probably not going to go much higher. Looking at the weekly here, we're at pretty much all-time highs. This is held by 89 cents. Wow. Unbelievable. It could have grown. I mean, you know, businesses are going to boom out of this is what's crazy is COVID offered free money, which basically set these businesses up for permanent success. I mean, you know, how many people wrote off millions of dollars in PPP money, and those that rolled it into real estate and some of the other things are going to be set up for life. I mean, unbelievable. Huge buying back then in 2021. That is unbelievable to me. But I don't like this to the upside. I do think that this is going to play out as a little head and shoulders and then come to the downside. I think if it breaks below 19, definitely aim for 15. I think if it breaks below 19, $15 puts look pretty good right now. And I think it would be worth checking out. but I'm going to give this a hard pass for right now. How you guys living otherwise? What else you got going on? Let's talk. Is anybody struggling right now? Is anybody going through something that they don't know how to go through, or the trades just not playing out? Have you not found a strategy that works? I want to take the last couple minutes to figure that out so that we can help you to the best of our ability. I will not go to Disney. My wife is very upset that I have a staunch position that I will not give up. I'm not going to Disney. I'm not spending that money. Look at their price increase over the last 30 years relative to pay scale. It's egregious and it's disgusting, and I have no interest in spending that much money for terrible things I don't care about. I just don't. Nothing about it is appealing. In my opinion, Disney lost that magic. But I will say this. It was reading into Disney's fundamental valuation, and they are undervalued down here. And if you look, we mapped this out. Remember back in the day, and we talked about Disney and that 200-day EMA, this little range here from 91 to 113. It really likes that range. Now, they have political headwinds and some other things working against them, but I realistically think we could see as low as 67, or we could bottom out at 79 and then see upside. I think there is something to really consider with the Disney chart. And I know my kids would enjoy it. I just don't want to spend. Yeah, just I don't know, man. It's just it's a principle. It's a matter of principle for me now. If I can go to like an all-inclusive resort and have an experience of a lifetime with the kids and my wife, I'm going to do that over Disney. Just going to do it. She'll talk me into going, and I will be at Disney at some point in the next couple of years. I can't fight it any longer. I'm losing my voice. All right. I love y'all. We covered a lot, and I think we found some opportunities that I'm going to dig a little deeper in, namely this one right here. Who was it? The doctor brought this up. I think we got some long-term opportunity here. I know you guys are liking those leaps. I think this is one I'm going to take a peek at. Those contracts might be expensive, but this create a spread, and we might have something here. Secondly, Snapchat. We want to see how earnings pan out tomorrow. This one could be some great opportunity. And then, as always, we're green on a few of those trades. We covered those. Make sure to chart those levels out on your brokerage so that you know while you're watching it during the day, oh, we talked about this being resistance. If it can't break this, then it's going to come back down. So you know when it's the right opportunity to take profits. So at the end of the day, I love y'all. You're the reason I'm here, and I am excited to see you for live trading. I'm sorry I missed last week. The whole schedule thing threw me off. That's on me. I won't miss it again. We will be live trading in the Discord. If you're not in there, you need to be. So I love you. Stay blessed now.